Hello. Song of the day for the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast is Hold On to the World by Peabo Bryson. R.I.P. It's been so long since I've done a Saturday episode. I'm not even sure why I've been so strict with the different days that I've been doing them lately. But hey, y'all, I'm Felicia, and we're starting a new season of the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast. In case you're new here, I'm a Black woman Southern discussing a myriad of theories and perspectives on a smorgasbord of topics. With an appetence for randomness, this is the podcast that discusses too much of nothing and a little bit of everything. Thank you so much for choosing the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast. Word of the day for the podcast is appetence. We're going to bring it in. Okay, appetence is a noun and it means intense desire, strong natural craving, appetite, instinctive inclination or natural tendency, material or chemical attraction or affinity. So this podcast has a material or chemical attraction or affinity, an instinctive inclination or natural tendency for randomness. All right, thank you. Okay, so happy Pride and happy Black Music Month. These are the things. It's June, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that. We finally got out of May, y'all. We finally got out of the grip of May because that was crazy. Now, we're going to take a metaphysical moment, and there's some new things to talk about. So, incense of the season is still spring, is jasmine, and it enhances mood, is known to reduce stress, improve emotional balance, and promote positivity. So, because we have a new month, we have a new crystal of the month. How about that? And it is green Aventurine. Love me some green Aventurine, okay? We're reading from the book Crystal Bliss. If you know, you know. Okay, so green Aventurine often is known as the stone of luck, and it brings lightness, optimism, and courage into your life. It ranges from a cloudy seafoam green to a bright apple green. This crystal often has iridescent, metallic colored inclusions made up of other minerals and usually has a sparkly quality to its appearance. You can use it by wearing it as jewelry or to keep it in areas where spontaneous good luck is needed. For example, keep a tumbled piece of Aventurine in your car for good luck when looking for parking or trying to avoid traffic. With its ability to dissolve anger and stress, this crystal is good for use in a home where a lighthearted energy is needed, like the family room. It can be found, or is often found, in Russia, Brazil, and India. A member of the quartz family, this crystal also comes in blue, brown, and peach hues. Okay. Now, for spiritual growth powers, it has courage, detachment from outcomes, good luck. Green Aventurine is considered to be a crystal of opportunity in both life and love. Using Aventurine can help you heal from a painful heartbreak, feelings of disappointment, by instilling and understanding that your relationship experiences can still be valuable, even if they were only meant to be temporary. Okay, this is getting deep. All right. Green Aventurine is beneficial for physical healing of the heart and the eyes. Interesting. Specifically nearsightedness. Okay. Farsightedness, astigmatism, cardiac issues, and circulatory problems. Okay. I need that, baby, for the visions and the stig. Okay. It has been also known to accelerate the growth of underdeveloped infants. Wow. And children. Help fertility problems and ease eruptions of acne, eczema, and rosacea. For the chakra, it is good for the heart chakra. Wearing Aventurine as a pendant that rests on your heart activates its ability to heal emotional and physical heart ailments, best worn against your flesh as opposed to over your clothes. Green Aventurine encourages feelings of vitality and a certain zest for living. It's an excellent stone for navigating obstacles, and it helps you to see them as opportunities for personal growth. I've noticed that when I carry green Aventurine, I encounter a lot of spontaneous luck, like finding good parking spots and coins on the street. Now, that's the author of the book saying that, but that's interesting. Whenever I wear or put in my pocket rather, because that's usually how I carry stones. Whenever I carry green Aventurine in my pocket, I do get a sense of luck. I do get a sense of lightheartedness, fun-lovingness, but also of a calm, like a non-panic fun, if you will. So anyway, that's the crystal of the month, green Aventurine. Get you some, enjoy it for what it is, okay? Now, as you know, I rather, wasn't on my due diligence. And so I said, you know what? We're going to carry book of the month for May to June. Okay. So book of the month for June for the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast is The Neighbor Favored by Kristina Forrest. And again, I will read the back. It is a shy, bookish, and mentally awkward Lily Green has always felt inadequate compared to the rest of her accomplished family, who strive for black excellence. She dreams of becoming a children's book editor, but she's been frustratingly stuck in a non-fiction division for years without a promotion in sight. Lily finds escapism in her correspondence with her favorite fantasy author, and what begins as two lonely people connecting over email turns into a tentative friendship and possibly something else. Lily won't let herself entertain until he ghosts her without a word. Months later, Lily is still crushed, but she's determined to get a hold of her life, starting with finding a date to her sister's wedding. And the perfect person to help her is Nick Brown, her charming, attractive new neighbor, who she feels drawn to for reasons she can't explain. But little does she know, Nick is an Arthur, her favorite fantasy Arthur. Nick, who has his reasons for using a pen name and pushing people away, soon realizes that the beautiful, quiet girl from down the hall is the same Lily he fell in love with over email months ago. Unwilling to complicate things even more between them, he agrees to set her up with someone else. My God, though this simple favor between two neighbors is anything but, not when he can't get her off his mind. Okay. For some reason, I don't think I read the last part of the synop last time, but that's crazy. It happens though, I guess, you know. So let's get into two things that I think are crazy and, believe it or not, are centered around South Carolina of all things. Okay. So working backwards, first, let's talk about how this black young lady who had just graduated from, I believe, high school, was kidnapped, handcuffed, put into the perpetrator's car, who pretended like he was an officer. She makes an escape and is running down mind you, this man has made it from South Carolina to, I believe, GA. At this point, she finds an opportunity to jump out. Oh no, they're still in South Carolina. Okay. Anyway, the truck driver is driving down a road in South Carolina, and he witnesses this young woman being chased by this Cadillac. She's in the handcuffs. And so he stops, of course, and he was thinking that, well, maybe that's a couple that just got into it, right? So he said the young woman would run from one side of the road, and the car would go over there, and then she would run to the other side, and the car would go over there. And so when he approached the young lady, the young lady told him that the man in the car was following her and had her phone and her diploma. And the man said he was like, your diploma, basically. And she was like, yes, I just graduated yesterday. So the truck driver, said the young woman told him the man had approached her while she was walking, allegedly claiming to be law enforcement, and allegedly forced her into handcuffs and into his car. According to the truck driver, the young woman said that her alleged, and I hate this because it's not alleged, that her kidnapper, I'm not going to fucking say alleged, excuse me, I'll just be reading, but That's not fucking alleged because obviously the motherfucker kidnapped her. Anyway, excuse me. But according to the truck driver, the young woman said that her kidnapper pulled onto a dirt road and headed toward the trunk of the car. She saw her chance to escape. Moore, who is the truck driver, said the young woman told him despite being handcuffed, she managed to wiggle herself across the back seat and out of the driver's door and ran. The man eventually got back into his car and pulled up to Moore's truck, claiming to be police. He said, I thought it was strange that he was in a teal green Cadillac with a busted window with plastic on the back of it. So he, like a smart person, an intelligent person, said he was going to call 911. And a second driver also stopped and called 911. And that's when the kidnapper sped away. The police ultimately arrested a white male named Jonathan Willard, who was 39, according to the June 1st press release from Aiken County Sheriff's Office in South Carolina. And they reached out, ABC News, to Aiken County Solicitor's Office for more information on Willard's representation. Now, this is the thing about it. First of all, this story in itself, there's something going on, and maybe you all are aware, maybe you're not. Maybe it's not real. That's a damn lie. But anyway, maybe you're not aware, okay? But there's something going on, and this has been going on for a long time, decades, in the United States. And it'll happen in like, in little, I'm forgetting the word I want to use, but it'll happen in little groups of time, right? Where people will either, and it'll be, this is racial, by the way. So just if you ain't got time for this, turn the pod off. You know what I'm saying? But there will be a white driver who hits someone who's black, either walking, mind you, the person could be walking on the literal sidewalk, or could be in an area where you're walking like a gas station or parking lot. Or it will be an uptick of kidnappings of black people, black children, black women, black men. Sometimes these stories end up, oh, this person is hanging from a tree, did committed suicide. You know, that bullshit. We've covered a few of those stories on the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast. You know what I'm saying? And for some reason, especially with South Carolina, because South Carolina, we've read several articles prior on the pod about like young men being kidnapped, etc. One of the young men was himself a truck driver. So South Carolina has a lot of issues in racial hate crimes. But there are these clusters. That's the word that I was looking for, y'all. There's these clusters within a year, within time. And it's like these two things are taking place. And this article, this story broke my heart because it's like, this is what's happening. This is a ploy. This is a thing that's planned. This is something that happens, right? And one of the things that I hate about the news and the media and all this bullshit is that we really never get, when you think about it, you know, especially as someone who watches a lot of crime programming or in docuseries and such, you really don't get up front a play-by-play or an update of the situations at hand, because I'm very curious about this man, this 38, who gives a damn, too old to be doing the shit, but 38 or 39-year-old man, white male, who kidnapped this woman and was planning to do God knows what. And we don't know the news. No news article that I've read so far about the situation has told us what was in his trunk, what was in his car, what he was on about. No one has said that they're going to check the man's emails, his phone, his computer. We don't know anything about this man, but I guarantee you, I can put at least a penny on it, that if you go in his phone, go on his computer, he has somewhere communicated this was his plan. He has done this before, attempted to do this before. And he's aware of other people who have done it as well. And it's just disparaging because it's like the news is never going to cover that. They're never going to put the public onto this thing that these group of people do in clusters within time to eliminate. This is another way to eradicate Black life. And South Carolina, I know for sure ain't finna make this something within the media, within the news, because they got a lot going on. I can tell you right now, if you look them up, it's a lot of people that's been kidnapped, a lot of people that's been hit by cars, trucks, etc. And it's a lot of people that are quote unquote committing suicide by hanging themselves on trees, which I just want everybody to know is pretty fucking hard. So it means that it's not happening. But the article in itself just got me really thinking about it, and just, it's so much to really be thinking about sometimes. And I'm just grateful that in this scenario, this truck driver was able to save this young lady's life. And he didn't, because a lot of people, I think, have seen things like this, right? And they say what his initial thought was, like, maybe this is a couple that got some shit going on. But because he's continued to watch and observe, he ultimately, was led to getting in touch with the authorities. But this is so crazy to me. And I just also hate that many of the articles also say allege. Like, the nigga, excuse me, let me cross my chest. The man, this white man did do this. You know what I'm saying? This isn't alleged. Alleged is when we don't know. He did it, baby. He kidnapped this young lady. Anyway, speaking of South Carolina, again, I'm telling you, South Carolina is the new Ohio. Anyway, I don't know if y'all have heard, but you got this man, this Korean man who basically in 2023 murdered this 14-year-old Black teenager. And the races do matter. And the man who murdered this young man, this teenage boy, excuse me, because let's get specific about it. He claims that this teenage boy was trying to shoot his son, and so he shot the teenage boy in self-defense. Now, I read the article because I kept trying to figure out. Oh, and by the way, he was released. He was acquitted on the charge of murder. So for me, I kept trying to figure out what was it within this situation where 12 people within the state of South Carolina would serve on the jury and say that this man was guiltless of murdering this teenage boy. And so I read it, and it said that the defense lawyer said the 14-year-old, his heart goes out to them, but 14-year-olds should not be roaming the streets of Columbia or South Carolina with semi-automatic pistols loaded and ready to fire. Carmack Belton's family, which is the victim, did not speak to the reporters outside of court. Solicitor Byron E. Gibson did not immediately respond to an email requesting comment. Prosecutors and a defense lawyer in closing arguments painted different pictures of the 2023 shooting. Prosecutors said the Korean man acted in anger because he wrongly thought the teen had stolen 4 bottles of water from the store. The defense lawyer said the man fired to defend his son only after the teen pointed a gun at him. This case is not about a shoplifter. This case is about a father who sees a gun pointed at his son and had to make a decision, defense attorney Sean Kent told jurors during closing arguments. The defense attorney said the man testified that Carmack Belton pointed a gun at him. Prosecutors acknowledged Carmack Belton. I thought this was the interesting part of the article and this whole situation, right? So prosecutors, acknowledged Carmack Belton had a semi-automatic pistol. They say it fell on the ground during the chase and he never threatened anyone with it. Prosecutors said Chow chased the teen more than 130 yards from the store. Gibson told jurors that he chased the child down, shot him in the back, which is true. During closing arguments, Gibson also placed a bottle of water before the jurors and saying, at the end of the day, this man believed that a human is not more than that. Gibson, and this is the part that also coincides with where I was confused. Gibson said multiple witnesses testified that they didn't see anything in Carmack Belton's hands and didn't see him point a gun as he ran from the store. Nobody testified that happened that doesn't have the last name Chow. Okay, so because I didn't know what the case was, I just knew sometimes it's heartbreaking to read stuff, right? But I just knew that this man shot this young man. Here's the thing. How do, even beyond the whole case, I understand people want to discuss the case, but even beyond all that, I just would like to speak to the jurors. I would like to know how the information flowed through their minds. And they concluded within 8 hours, which is a short period of time for such a case, to determine that this man was not guilty of anything, like a single thing. Like he's set free. He can do whatever he wants. It turns out, not in this article, but it turned out that the information that he had shot 2 other people who were black at this gas station was suppressed. I'm assuming by the judge. I don't know. I don't know what happened with the prosecution. I'm not sure. But even with that being suppressed, that information being suppressed, what was the jury doing? What were those 12 people doing? Because this was unanimous. This wasn't like, okay, 6 people or 4 people was like, he's not guilty. And then other people was like, you know what? Something going on with this man. That's the part that gets me. Sometimes in these cases, and this is, the Trayvon Martin case was a pathway set so that things like this can happen, so that people can murder teenagers and just get away with it, and children, and black teenagers and black children, and get away with it. But I always want to, before anybody else, I always want to know what the jurors were thinking. And no one ever asked them. No, because that's who I would be trying to. If I was technologically advanced and I knew how to go to people's emails or whatever and hack shit, that's who I would always be hacking, is the jurors. Because I'm like, how? How did y'all sit around in that circle, or however it goes, I don't know, a square table, whatever, and come to this conclusion that this man was not guilty of any fucking thing? And that's it for me with South Carolina. It's like, baby, you ain't gonna find me in South Carolina. I tell you that right now. I don't even want to be on the damn expressways. If I'm trying to get to the North Carolinas or the Virginias, I don't know how I'm gonna get there, because I can't take the road. Because if I'm on that road, if I get in that state, something's gonna happen. Anyway, let's release it. All right. Quote of the day for the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast is by Nizar Qabbani, who is a renowned poet from Syria and a national treasure. Okay. Quote of the day: days will pass and you'll abandon things you were addicted to, and leave someone, and cancel a dream, and finally accept a reality. And I believe that's what the month of June encompasses, is that it's the 6th month of the year. It is still spring, and it's a time to sit, reflect, and realize, you know what? We're different now. We've canceled some dreams. We've let days pass. We've abandoned some things we were addicted to, and we're accepting this reality. Thank you so much for listening to the Cotton Candy Cloud podcast. I hope that you will spread the word. Look at the articles posted on the social media platforms for the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast on Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitter. And remember, when your head is in the clouds, there's always something sweet to think about.